Imagine waking up to an alarm that never seemed possible. A U.S. carrier strike group is patrolling near Taiwan on a routine mission. Suddenly, radar and satellite screens light up, and a swarm of missiles and fast weapons is heading toward the carrier. Within minutes, the ship and its escorts move from peacetime patrol to full combat mode. This piece explains in plain language what would likely happen after such an attack and why the effects would ripple far beyond the immediate battle. First, what weapons could strike a carrier? China fields long-range anti-ship ballistic missiles, often called carrier killers, such as the DF-21D and the DF-26. These missiles fly high and come down at very high speed, and they may have maneuverability re-entry vehicles that complicate interception. Beijing also works on hypersonic anti-ship weapons that travel extremely fast in the final phase. These options give China several ways to threaten a carrier from land, ship, or aircraft. A carrier never sails alone. It's the center of a strike group comprising guided missile cruisers and destroyers, an attack submarine, and an air wing of fighters and support aircraft. This formation uses layered defenses. Long-range interceptors, like SM-3 or SM-6 missiles, try to destroy targets far away. Mid-range missiles and close-in weapon systems like the Phalanx gun work near the ship. Airborne radars, electronic warfare planes, and a submarine that hunts under the surface complete the defensive web. Together, these layers provide time and space for human decision-makers and automated systems to react. China's likely method is to try to overwhelm those defenses. Instead of a single missile, imagine multiple waves, ballistic missiles, hypersonic glide vehicles, cruise missiles, torpedoes, and drones all arriving over a short period. Electronic attacks could try to blind radar and jam communication. The attacking force hopes the defenders must pick and choose which threats to stop first, and that some weapons will get through during the chaos. How good are current defenses? Modern Aegis-equipped ships and long-range interceptors make an advanced shield. But those systems have limits. Interceptors are costly and limited in number. Using many high-end interceptors to stop a massive attack can burn stockpiles quickly. Sensors can be saturated or fooled by decoys, and hypersonic weapons reduce the reaction time for decision-makers. Analysts have warned that heavy reliance on expensive interceptors can be unsustainable in a prolonged high-intensity fight. If a weapon does strike the carrier, damage control defines survival. Navy crews practice firefighting, sealing compartments and restoring power. Carriers are large ships with many redundancies, and crews can often stop fires and save systems after hits. But an impact on or near the flight deck is especially dangerous. A hit here can destroy aircraft, ignite fuel fires, and halt flight operations. Without a functioning flight deck, the carrier loses its main purpose, launching and recovering planes that provide surveillance, strike, and defense. What would the U.S. response look like? Expect immediate military moves. The strike group would go to highest alert. Fighters and electronic warfare jets would scramble. Airborne early warning planes would keep watch, and destroyers would fire defensive missiles. At the same time, submarines would move from quiet patrol to hunter-killer operations to hunt enemy ships and subs. The U.S. could also launch Tomahawk cruise missiles and other precision strikes against missile launchers, air bases, and ships that participated in the attack. Those strikes aim to stop follow-on waves and deny the adversary safe places to launch more weapons. That response would not happen in a vacuum. Allies and partners would be involved quickly. Japan, Australia, South Korea, and other regional states would face pressure to help to protect their waters. The U.S. would coordinate with bases in Guam, Japan, and elsewhere to send reinforcements, refuel aircraft, and sustain operations. Diplomacy would move at the speed of headlines. Emergency meetings, public statements, and intense back-channel talks would occur as leaders weigh options and risks. Economics would react fast. The South China Sea carries much of the world's trade. A sudden conflict there would disrupt shipping routes, push up insurance and fuel costs, and rattle markets. Supply chains for goods and critical components could slow or pause. Businesses and governments would feel immediate pressure to reduce the risk and to restore normal trade lines. A major danger in any crisis is accidental escalation. Confusion is likely. Sensors can misidentify targets. Communications can fail. And cyber attacks might cut key message links. In those conditions, a pilot or commander might make a hasty decision that others interpret as an attack. Both sides would fear miscalculation, and that fear can push leaders toward more caution or toward rash steps meant to seize an advantage. The hour-by-hour fog of war can turn limited fighting into a wider clash. Nuclear weapons remain an unlikely but ever-present risk. Both the United States and China understand the catastrophic consequences of nuclear use, and both keep channels to reduce the chance of miscommunication. Still, once conventional strikes grow, the political rhetoric and public pressure on leaders can accelerate. Most planners hope the danger remains in the conventional realm, but they also prepare for worst-case scenarios to deter any move that might cross nuclear lines. Logistics matter more than many people assume. Interceptor missiles, precision-guided munitions, aircraft parts, and spare engines are finite. A longer fight strains stock. Recent reporting has warned that using many high-end interceptors in other theaters can deplete supplies needed for a high-end fight in the Pacific. Allies would be crucial for replenishment and for sustainment. What about the bigger political picture? An attack on a U.S. carrier near Taiwan would be a strategic attack. It would test alliances, trade links, and global institutions. Countries that normally try to stay neutral would face intense pressure to choose positions. International bodies would call for restraint, evidence, and immediate de-escalation. Media coverage would be intense, and the public reaction could push governments toward harder rhetoric and faster moves. Beyond the immediate battle, the psychological and propaganda impact would be huge. Beijing might publicly claim self-defense or argue the carrier violated some line, while Washington would show satellite images and other evidence. These competing stories matter because global opinion influences which countries provide diplomatic and material support. Domestic politics in each country could pull leaders towards tougher stances or toward calming measures depending on the mood of their publics. Smaller countries in the region would face hard choices. Some would increase patrols and join information-sharing efforts with the United States and its partners. Others might try to stay neutral to protect trade and avoid becoming targets. Either way, the region's security landscape would shift quickly, increasing military spending and causing governments to build redundancy in supply chains. There's also a human side that's easy to forget in technical descriptions. Sailors, pilots, and family members. Casualties and damage would carry a lasting human cost and shape national memory. That reality often makes political leaders more cautious, but it can also harden resolve. This human factor would shape decisions in the hours and days after an attack. Could a single strike end carrier operations in the region forever? Not likely. Carriers are expensive and symbolically powerful, but they can be repaired, and their presence signals commitment. The bigger long-term effect might be a shift in naval thinking, more investment in missile defenses, more distributed forces like many smaller ships and mobile missiles, improved allied basing and logistics, and faster production lines for interceptors and munitions. Policymakers would also pursue stronger diplomacy and clearer rules of engagement to avoid another near-catastrophic event. Finally, remember that this scenario is plausible but hypothetical. Experts study these cases because they help leaders understand risk and plan better responses. So what do you think about the possible conflict in the Taiwan Strait? Let us know in the comments section down below, and make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content like this.